Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Media Guide program uh, flashback. This was actually my most recent victory. This is the next to last NBA game at the Richfield Coliseum. In 1994, the Cavaliers over Washington 117-96. And this actually must be the original sleeve that the person I bought it from was in. And I'm going to probably change it because if you feel how it's got that old plastic that after a while it gets that really thick feeling to it, and it's not always pleasant, or sometimes I think good for the magazine after a while. It's always, if you're a collector, it's good to every handful of years change your bags and stuff because it is good for the magazine itself. But I may try to get this off of the magazine just because I think stuff like that's neat from the original owner. This was something that I bought. It's not to this game. It's a Richfield Coliseum ticket stub. The same owner, the same seller on eBay had it, so it was like $1, so I bought that. So I thought it was something neat, although it isn't to this particular game. In 1994, the Cavaliers were wrapping up their term at the Richfield Coliseum, and a lot of times they would have these covers looking back. And I've decided that when I can get them reasonable, to try to get more of these with the cool-looking covers. And this one here is the Miracle of Richfield, with Dick Snyder hitting the runner over the Washington Bullets, the then Washington Bullets. So this is 1994. The Cavaliers are getting ready to leave Richfield to go into Cleveland to what is now Rocket City Fieldhouse, which is before Quicken Loans Arena and before Gund Arena. And there's said Gordon Gunn, who was named after, and his brother George Gunn III. Stop and Shop, Cleveland's favorite supermarket, the team that can't be beat. There's the then Cavalier GM Wayne Embry, then Cavalier head coach Mike Fratello, and then two longtime NBA assistants who each had runs with other teams as head coaches, Richie Adubato and Ron Rothstein, who I think was the first ever head coach of the Miami Heat. Same thing with Jim Boylan. And there's Gary Fitzsimmons. I think he was the son of Cotton Fitzsimmons, longtime NBA head coach. Easy drive to the basket at Dairy Mart. And then there's the famous Pete Newell of the Pete Newell Big Man Camp as a consultant. Victory Vets. Longtime Cavalier trainer Gary Briggs. And here's a couple of Cavs as they were wrapping up the time in Richfield. Terrell Brandon, who was probably the best player at this particular time. Brad Daugherty, whose career was winding down due to back problems that would end his career. Danny Ferry, longtime NBA executive after this. Tyrone Hill, who was a nice player for Cleveland as a scorer rebounder of the year. Chris Mills, who probably was, my guess is the Cavaliers' #1 that year. Mark Price, the late Bobby Phills, Larry Nance Sr., who again, like Brad Daugherty, wrapping up a career. The video we did earlier was with saw Dominique Wilkins with the Hawks against the Cavaliers. This is his younger brother Gerald, and the late John Hot Rod Williams. The Panasonic CPA, check printing accountant. While it can't eliminate the pain of paying bills, it can reduce the time you suffer. I'm sure it did. And now we shift over to the national version with Shaquille O'Neal, then Orlando Magic. Well, still Orlando Magic, but he would later move on to various teams. Always cool, yeah. Now that is always cool, as they says, no doubt about it. As they says, oh, brother, tell it's late. NBA spanning the globe. NBA Jam, one of my favorite games for the Sega Genesis. My good friend, my good buddy Greg, who's been my friend since I was a kid, got that game for me, and boy, we probably played that thing for hours. Me and him and my son. He's on fire. This is a bunch of Where do NBA players come from? Here's an ad for Sean Kemp, who would later become a Cavalier. NBA on TNT. World. This is a kind of a dull program, to be honest with you. Q&A with Reggie Miller. Those we still hear from Reggie, don't we? As part of the Turner broadcast. Dikembe's defense drives Denver. I love those Dikembe Mutombo commercials for, no, not today, where he's blocking shots. And I think it's Geico. Well, you would think that it would be easier to remember. A good commercial helps the product, but I do remember Mutombo. Jordan with 63 against the Boston Celtics in the playoffs. Okay, this comes with an insert, as it says, and this is how the game wound up. And as you can see, Brad Daugherty did not play. Tyrone, it looks like 7 Cavaliers in double figures, led by Tyrone Hill's 20. And this, as I unfold this, is what comes with the game. As you can see, Brad Daugherty's not even on the roster, so he probably is. Injury report: herniated. That was the injury that would end his career. Put these off to the side so this will hold properly. Oh, it wouldn't be a basketball program without a car. And this is In Your Face Bandit and Knight Rider 2010. Wow. Show so memorable, I don't even remember them. Elgin Baylor. Latrell Sprewell shines for the Warriors. I guess this must have been before he. What says this? Saw Don Nelson was still the coach, so he hadn't choked PJ Carlesimo yet. Dollar Rent-A-Car with Leslie Nielsen, late actor. Welcome to the big. You can tell this is clearly 90s. That how the layout is, and the 90s was not my favorite generation of sports logos and uniforms, and clearly a magazine of its time. There's the Fleer basketball set of the season, which I had a lot of these cards. There's the very beginning of the time of the insert card, which never really stopped. Detroit's Lindsey Hunter. There's one for my son, long-suffering Dallas Maverick fan, with the guys that were going to start the comeback, Jimmy Jackson and Jamal Mashburn. My son actually bought him jerseys of both those players. I don't know if I know he has. I have them in my attic, or he has them in his house. Great moments, great players, great games. Julius Erving, Dave Cowens, Wes Unseld. I think that's Dave DeBuscher, but it's kind of hard to tell. No, Jerry Lucas. As I said, hard to tell. 1-800-HEARING-NBA. Don't miss any of the action with all the team logos. Centers of Attention by David Dupree, who still works covering basketball. Oh, an ad for Mighty Ducks 2. People that know me know how much I love Mighty Ducks 1, mainly because of the character by actor Lane Smith of Coach Jack Riley. Love that guy. This prom and graduation, make the smart move. Leave alcohol out. As a balding Clyde Drexler watches as Buck Williams puts a pick on former Cavalier Ron Harvey. Prelude to a Miracle. So this is going to talk about the Miracle of Richfield, which is very cool to have in a program that puts that on the cover. Rolling Rock Beer, McDonald's. The Cavaliers announcer Joe Tate, for my money, the best play-by-play man ever. And there's the Cavs television schedule on Channel 19. This is still kind of the local sports network where every game's available. And this is the Arsenio Hall show, Arsenio from Cleveland. And then there's TV coverage on Sports Channel, which didn't have every game, but they did have a chunk of it. 3WE, still pumping them out even today, home of the Cavs, with the late Rush Limbaugh and the late Don Imus. There's a television play-by-play announcer, Denny Schreiner, who I don't really remember much. And Jim Jones, who's the Cavalier radio announcer, even today. I like that watch and those clocks, though. I mean, I know they're kind of dated, but I still still like it. And there's the final seating chart for the final season of Cavalier basketball. The best seats in the house would looks like would cost you about $40. This is the new arena at Gateway, where it says it'll feature a four-sided center-hung scoreboard, which the Richfield Coliseum didn't have. It had two screens, one on each end of the facility, which was different for its time, but different than most NBA arenas did have that four-sided center-hung. Various Cavs retail store, a bay window. When you look at it, it really, from the outside, doesn't look a ton different than the Rocket, whatever the hell it is, field house from today, the Cavs dance team, and the remaining schedule. So there you go. There's the pretty nice. I'll probably be buying more of these from that season, even though they're so dated 90s, just because of telling the story of the Cavaliers to Richfield Coliseum. So that concludes today's video, the 1994 Washington Bullets at Cleveland Cavaliers. So if you like this and would like to see more of these, please subscribe. It's not going to turn my life around if you do, but nonetheless, it's nice to know somebody watches these once in a great while. Check the blog out at thoughtsofrs.blogspot.com. And until next time, we'll see you then.